Hello and welcome to an episode of Go Fraser Valley that has been plucked off the vine, pressed, and left to sit for a couple of years. Thanks. Yep, we're talking about wine today because I'm at the Art of Wine Festival being held by the Chilliwack Art and Cultural Centre Society, where over 25 of this province's most renowned wineries are pouring the best of what they have to offer. There's an awful lot in wine tasting, and so to help give me some tips and understand what I'm tasting, I have with me Bob Besner, a wine aficionado himself. Bob,
Aficionado is the right word.
It is the right word, yeah. What do you love about wine?
Besides the taste and the obvious effects, I think wine is one of those drinks that I rarely drink it alone, so it's part of a social scene.
Okay.
It does bring people together. Tonight, for example, I mean, here's a wine tasting. I try to attend a lot of these throughout the year. I have some in our home, and that's what it does for me. It brings a lot of friends, people, and I meet new friends when I come to these things.
So it's just the whole social aspect is really the best part.
It is.
What sort of things have you learned over the years about wine, and even more so tasting it and kind of analyzing it? I don't know if that's the right word, or enjoying it maybe.
Well, it's trite to say that, you know, I know what I like, but that's very true. You can taste 100 wines, and it's not so much if you approach it as a scientist and try to say, oh, I'm going to look for these things, you might miss the mark. You might miss the enjoyment of tasting these wines, and you'll miss the ones that really do appeal to you. And over the years, I've narrowed that field down considerably, and so now when I come to an event like this, I can bypass stuff fairly quickly and go to what I like. But I'm always on the lookout for something new.
Does wine kind of evolve in a way? Like it's kind of, one could think that wine is, it's like, how could it be always different, and why are people going to wine tasting events all the time? You know, isn't wine just wine, or is it different? Does it evolve?
That's the same as asking me how you grow a tomato. One year it tastes different than the next year.
Right, okay.
I mean, it's the soil it grows in, it's the sunshine of that particular year, how much rain did it get, you know, was it on the north side of the hill or the south side of the hill? A lot of things do influence the taste of wines, including the person who makes that wine, right? So how knowledgeable they are. But in the end, it still boils down to the person who's going to buy that bottle of wine, and they're going to buy it because they enjoy it. And there are ways you asked earlier about how to taste a wine. I learned this a long time ago. So this is part of what I learned back in the 80s.
Okay, cool.
So you know, you'll come to an event like this and they'll pour you a little bit of wine.
Right.
Now, if it comes straight from the bottle, you're supposed to smell that wine before you do anything else. And in France, or French, it's called the premier nez, or the first nose. And then you swirl. And what you're doing is you're trying to get a lot of air into the wine. So you're aerating it in the glass.
Okay.
And then you smell it a second time, the deuxième nez, second nose, right?
Okay.
And it should smell differently from the first.
Really?
It should. Because you've done something to it, right? You've acted upon that wine with air. Now, if it doesn't smell differently, it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means maybe it's meant to be drunk very soon.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the signs that might tell you that. So that second nose will tell you something different. Then you taste, and you try to aspirate. You try to suck it in between your teeth to get even more air into it.
Okay.
And that way, when it's aerating in your mouth, it's going to all of your taste buds all at once. And that's part of that. So that's how you taste wine.
That's the real technique to it.
Well, I'm sure every sommelier will have a different technique.
Right.
But I think by and large, that's what they're going for.
Yeah, kind of the foundation.
There's some basic steps.
Yeah.